The National Assembly has begun a 2-week-long induction for incoming lawmakers of the 9th Parliament.
That's right. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports that the exercise provided a platform for lobbying for leadership seats in both chambers of the legislature.
A simulation of what the first day of the 9th Parliament will look like once it is proclaimed by President Muhammadu Buhari. Lawmakers-elect are taken through the process of choosing their presiding officers. All around the venue of the induction are campaign posters of lawmakers eyeing available offices. President of the Senate insists the Senate has the powers of confirmation, worrying that 2 years on, the judiciary has not been able to rule on about 13 cases before it on the subject matter.
There are cases in court asking the judiciary to interpret who has the powers. But I'm sure by the time the judiciary interprets, there's no doubt about it that it is the Senate that has the powers.
As the event enters a question and answer session, it becomes clear that lawmakers are more interested in who become their next leaders. Outside the hall, they share their thoughts with TVC News.
We have had enough trouble. We have had enough of misunderstanding between the executive and the legislative arm of government. This time around, the APC as a party has widely consulted.
Some of the persons that are angling for leadership in the National Assembly today are people that I know. And based on my own perception of what leadership Nigeria requires at the time, I think I'll be very, very careful in making a choice of who to support.
I just hope and pray, the party will do all what is necessary, what is due diligence, so that, they can convince each and every member of the Senate.
No central, we have been alienated in the proposed zoning, if it's anything to go by. So we are watching.
The man in the eye of the storm in the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, says he is intensifying lobbying of his peers to clinch the Senate presidency seat.
We are reaching to all our colleagues, regardless of their political persuasion, because after all, we are supposed to work together. It's not going to be just a Senate that is for APC. It's a Senate that will consist of APC, PDP, YPP, my brother is here.
The Batch A participants describe the induction as educative and enriching as they look forward to a robust and rancor-free 9th National Assembly. The second group of lawmakers-elect will go through the same process for the whole of next week. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, in the studio with me is a lawyer and political analyst, Fred Nzako. Thank you for joining us this morning on TVC Breakfast.
Many thanks. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, you remember what played out in 2015 yes. For the APC in trying to get the leadership of the 8th National Assembly, and we see what is going on now. The intrigues being played by the party endorsing a particular person, but some persons feeling aggrieved. Would you say that they are approaching this in the right manner?
In the first instance, there was nothing untoward that happened in 2015. What happened in 2015 was what should happen.
Really?
Yes, what should happen? Allow the people to decide their leaders. It's as simple as that. These are senators, not kindergarten children. These are people elected by their constituencies, elected by their senatorial zones to represent them in the National Assembly. And then these are men that are aged and matured enough to make laws for the good order and good governance of Nigeria. Allow them to decide who among them in that chamber leads them. It's as simple as that. They took that decision in 2015, and then Nigerians took it as if, some Nigerians took it as if all hell was let loose. Nothing was untoward about it. 2019
because that is
has
how it has been played over time, where a party with the majority seemed to want to take that position of the leadership position.
There is no law in Nigeria, no law, and I stand to be corrected, that says a party in majority must take leadership. And meanwhile, in 2015, the party majority took leadership. The current Senate president was an APC person in 2015. So yes. What was wrong? The fact that PDP produced the deputy Senate president, did it rock the boat? It never rocked any boat. And then their duty was to make law. and the laws they were making. And there are so many laws they have made that are awaiting presidential accent, to which accent has not been given.
So, yes.
So Nigerians must not demonize the 8th Assembly as if they were a cog in the wheel of progress.
So you're saying that it is unlawful for the party to determine who the Senate president
It is not only unlawful, it is ultra vires the powers of the party to breathe it down on the members of the National Assembly on who their leadership, on who their leaders should be. What is important is, if you want Mr. A or Mr. B to lead, you lobby, you plead. It's moral suasion. You don't breathe it down heavily on them and say, if you don't do this, we'll sack you. Did you invite them in the first instance? Political membership, a political party is an association. You freely join and you freely leave if you don't want. So you join because you want to serve your people, and then your people have elected you to represent them at a chamber. So you now come, among you, you decide who the leaders will be. What is important for me and for most Nigerians is quality and good representation. That's what is important.
When you see what played out in 2015, I have to go back there, and how it seemed to have impacted the party. Speaking about the APC now, we are seeing a seemingly playback of that again, because there are some aggrieved persons who are there. Now, what would be the way forward for the party?
Recall that what happened is that APC tried to micro-zone their choice and their decision. And that is they're doing the same road again. If you decide, take first, for example, the Senate presidency, if you have decided to zone it to northeast, why do you now micro-zone it to a particular individual? This one is not doing micro-zoning. You are now picking for them a particular individual. Ahmed Lawan is excellently and eminently qualified to become Senate president. Femi Gbajabiamila is eminently qualified to become speaker, but allow the people to decide. Not just allowing them to decide, allow them to even present themselves to their peers, to their members, and then ask them for their support, so that that leadership will have cooperation. Leadership without cooperation is a crisis. And this is the crisis that we say it must not happen in 2019 going forward.
Now, Orji Uzor Kalu is also an aggrieved person in this case.
Yeah, he's aggrieved because he said Southeast was skimmed out in this.
Now he is saying that if justice must be done, then the seat of the Deputy Senate President must be zoned to the Southeast.
That is his opinion, and I have no grudge about it, because it has now become a matter of zone. Quality, effectiveness, and efficiency has been downplayed. You are now talking about zone. So what is wrong with Orji Uzor Kalu saying something must go to the Southeast? And then what is the sin of the Southeast that something will not go to the Southeast? What is the saying is a major block in Nigerian geopolitical entity. So Orji Uzor Kalu is completely correct that Southeast must be very well represented. And then there are other zones that are also crying, because North Central is shouting that they have been skimmed out. So why are you overloading Southwest?
All right, now.
And then overloading some other zones against the interests of some other zones. Okay. And that is why I say that excessive zoning without due respect to federal character and quality representation will not do us well.
Fred Nzako, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
Many thanks.